Hey guys, what's up? This is Matt. Today it's me once again. Welcome back to the movie review, aka After I Saw. This time is going to be on the Conjuring Last Rites. This is supposedly the last of the Conjuring movies. Not specifically the Conjuring universe, so we don't know if that's going to continue going on after. Probably not. This movie focuses once again on Ed and Lorraine Warren, but it also focuses on their daughter, Judy, who had an interesting birth. And years later, she has a boyfriend, but yeah, things start getting a little bit concerning when things come to haunt her, and Ed and Lorraine, fear that something is going to happen to their daughter. So, of course, they have to get their paranormal investigating skills back on track as they focus on seeing what's going on with her daughter. Now, The Conjuring, the first movie, is one of the most important movies to me because not only was this the first horror movie I ever saw in the theater, it was also the first R-rated movie I saw in the theater. My dad was all like, "You want to go see The Conjuring?" I wasn't sure at first. I was all like, maybe this movie might be a little too much. But then, something kicked in my brain. I was all like, dude, are you stupid? This is your chance to see an R-rated movie. I was all like, okay, as long as I can see it, I was willing to. And I'm so happy that, I changed my mind because I loved this film. It was creepy. It was suspenseful without having the use of, blood. I mean, there's a little blood here and there, but nonetheless, The Conjuring it knew how to be scary, and it's one of my all-time favorites when it comes to the horror genre. I also really enjoyed the second movie. The third movie was fine, but I do feel like that film was kind of forgettable. These two, on the other hand, I've always remembered fondly of. But when it comes to, another film, I was all like, okay, it's getting to the point where this is getting a little too overboard. I mean, we already got the Conjuring universe, but the fact is, these movies are based on true events, and they want to try tackling all these events that happened with the history of the Warrens. So, if this supposedly is the last one, I feel like it ended on a fine conclusion. Just like how I felt about the last movie, this is a fine film, but in terms of its horror, yeah, it kind of doesn't really have that same vibe as the previous films. I mean, the haunting sequences, they're definitely there, but it's far more slower than some of the previous films. I mean, the previous films, they were slow, definitely, but when it came to the tension it was bringing, it managed to bring it in at the right moments. Like, even when it was daytime, there were some haunting sequences. But when it comes to this film, some of them don't really happen till during, the nighttime. But, I mean, there were some daytime sequences when it came to the horror, but it just didn't have that same amount of impact, because it's getting to the point where it's kind of getting a little bit too predictable. Like, when it comes to the family drama, it's definitely focusing more on that, which is fine and all, because the performances all around, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, they're always good in these movies, and they're definitely the highlights when it comes to this. When it comes to these films, I always love seeing them together on screen, though they don't really have a whole lot of screen time this time around. I appreciate the fact that it focuses more on one of their family members, and the fact that she had a lot of troubling things going on at birth. Like, the opening sequence, I thought was very interesting. Like, it definitely had a lot of purpose, especially when it went on throughout the film, though they do add elements of exposition to what happened at the beginning, which I'm not really going to spoil for you, but yeah. When it came to the plot line of, well, you know what, I'm not really going to get too into it because I would have to go, yeah, but really the things about these movies is the fact that, when it comes to their horror, it kind of gets a little bit repetitive. I mean, there was a time where jump scares were false, but didn't really have that same amount of tension. I mean, yes, Annabelle's back. There is this one sequence involving Annabelle, despite the fact it had, I don't know, kind of a weird use of CGI. I still thought it was kind of cool. So yeah, there are aspects of the movie that I do feel like work, but when it comes to the horror, it's pretty much the most important thing when it comes to these movies. Like, have the horror, still feel fresh, but it's getting to the point where it kind of got a little too repetitive. I mean, even the last act of the movie, I feel like will definitely remind you of the last act of the first film. And while, when it comes to the heart of the films, I feel like, I was connected more to the heart of the first two films. Like, I know I'm not really mentioning much of what happened in the third movie because I really don't remember a whole lot after watching that film. I don't know. There was a distraction during that film that kind of took me away from the film a little bit. Like, I don't know. I was getting so many texts. It was just like getting out of control. And I know it's not cool to text during a movie, but yeah. All I really got to say about this movie is the fact that when it comes to its conclusion, it wraps things up in a way that you're all like, okay, so if this is how it ends, it doesn't end like on a whimper or anything like that. It actually is kind of a strong conclusion. Okay, though the ending, yeah, it kind of lasts a little bit too long. I mean, I was all like, okay, I get it at this point, but yeah. But in the end, guys, Conjuring Last Rites, if this really is how it all concludes, then it's fine. But I feel like it would have been better had James Wan continued to direct these films, because the man truly understood the genre. He's understood the genre for years, and sure, Malignant wasn't necessarily a scary film. It was still very inventive in being both a horror film while also being very campy in what it was going for. I still think, that film is a lot of fun and managed to have a lot more going for it. But I feel like, with the lack of James Wan's direction, these movies just don't really have that same amount of impact as the first two films had. I mean, I didn't hate this movie. It was just, this t-shirt, yeah, kind of says it all. I should just wear this shirt every time I review a movie that I think is okay, but then again, that would kind of spoil my opinion. Now, before I end the video, I have to make a quick rant, okay? And this is about the movie or anything like that, because I thought it was fine, but no. Okay, it's my experience with the film. Now, I have had so many bad experiences throughout this year, and surprisingly, none of them were for a Minecraft movie, because I saw that movie before they started the whole throw popcorn during a meme sequence trend. But no, okay, so this was probably the worst experience I had this year. And I had a horrible time, when it came to Smurfs, because there were kids talking throughout the movie. But I've had so many bad instances where, people just kept talking during the movie, and I just had to keep moving seats. I did that during Final Destination Bloodlines. I did it during Weapons, which is a movie you shouldn't even be talking through. Lilo and Stitch, though we didn't move seats because we were at the very front and they were at the very back. I don't know, but yeah. I thought Jurassic World Rebirth was the worst, but this just took the cake. Okay, so here's the thing, okay? When the movie started, there wasn't that many people in there. There were a few people in the back, but, not a lot of crowds or anything like that. As soon as it started up, this couple literally just sat right next to me. No questions whatsoever. Didn't even, just didn't care that I was there. And started talking for 3 minutes straight and just kept making noise. And I was all like, nope, nope. So I moved further back. They would not stop talking. They were so freaking loud. They started laughing and just talking through the entire thing. There was not one time where they slowed down or took a pause for a minute. No, they just kept talking and talking and talking. The first time, I had to get an employee, to just ask them politely to just, calm down, talkie, and just, or better yet, don't talk during the movie. As soon as the employee took care of that, well, he didn't really take care of it because they continued to talk. And then another employee came in. He said it was all taken care of by the end, but here's the thing. Instead of not talking or at least leaving, they thought, they could fix it all by going further up in the front and still continue their conversation. And the whole reason they were even talking through was how much they did not like the movie. Like, dude, if you're not liking the movie, then just can you talk about how you didn't like the movie until after the movie? Because this is a 2-hour-long movie, and I did not want to sit there for 2 hours while those people were talking, because it was hard for me to get into the movie at first. Like, I did remember, I was getting into the opening sequence, but then after that, it was impossible for me to focus because they were just talking for 30 minutes straight, and it just would not end. Like, and I was the only one who was annoyed by this, and no one else thought, maybe they could just get them to not talk. But, of course, I guess it's because nobody wanted to start anything. I didn't want to start anything, but I didn't want to leave either. Like, I was this close to wanting to leave to come back later, But there's another movie I'm seeing the next day, which is for Hamilton, which is a movie I never seen, but, I want to see that on the big screen. But thankfully, however, there was a light at the end of this painful, talkative tunnel. As before the movie hit 45 minutes, they were just all like, okay, we're just going to leave. And as soon as they were walking out, I just whispered to myself and I was all like, yes, finally, I can focus on the movie. But the reason I'm even bringing this up is because, let me tell you guys something, okay? I've had to deal with this so much throughout this year, okay? But does that mean I'm done seeing movies in the theater? Absolutely not. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. I just want to see a movie in a theater. But guys, stop ruining movie experiences for others. If you want to talk during a movie, wait till the movie comes out on streaming, because most movies nowadays, they come out 3 weeks after theatrical releases to streaming. Hell, you can watch The Bad Guys 2 right now. But I'm just sick and tired of this, this talkative nature during movies in the theater. Like, I miss just focusing on movies, because, like, the only time when I was completely fine with it was during Naked Gun, because people were laughing, but that was okay because I was laughing with them. But I'm sorry for that long rant there. I just had to bring it up because I'm absolutely tired of movie theater experiences just getting worse and causing people to just wait till movies come out on stream, because I don't want that. I want theaters to still keep going on, but we can't keep them going on if people are just gonna keep being annoying during movies, because that's not how I like my theatrical experiences. Just bring that up. Hope you guys just... yeah, but I gotta end this video before this rant goes on longer than the review. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, maybe subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or maybe Blue Sky. Links are in the description. And I'll see you guys later. Word out.